Okay, so one thing I wanted to do, I know some of us have gotten kind of caught up in just the stale practice regimen, which is important, certainly keep doing that, but I also want you to have some fun on your own. So instead of just strumming quarter note chords, like so, for several minutes at a time, let's see how we can dress these chords up. First, of course, if we're talking strumming, rather than just doing, we can add our strum pattern that we worked on, which is this. If we want to take it further, we can add in some percussion. So that's a way to dress up strumming. The other thing we can do with strumming is add in some of our melody notes here. So, for example, what we're doing is we're overlaying a few notes from the C major scale underneath the chord. So you kind of have to visualize underneath the chord the scale, which we've been working on as well. So we know we have B, C, D, E, F, G that we can put in there, so we can do something like this. Now let's talk about actually changing the rhythm pattern, going from strumming to finger picking, okay? So what we can do is take the same process that we've used for our fingerstyle songs in the past. Remember, thumb covers the bass notes, 3, 2, and 1 on the trebles. So for example, for a C chord, the thumb needs to come down. So if we do it in the most basic way, we can just finger pick in 4/4. Nothing wrong with that. Now if we want to add in the same pattern we just did with the scale notes, it would be like so. Excuse me. And then one thing that we want to do is always conclude on a chord that works for our ending. So for example, we're in the key of C. So whatever we play, if we conclude it with a C chord, it'll work. And it may also work well with A minor, whichever one you prefer. So let's do exactly what we just did, but let's transition it into, transpose rather, into the key of G/E minor, okay? So now instead of C, we're gonna play G. Instead of A minor, we're gonna play E minor. So our regular pattern would be, first off, one thing we can change in the left hand, you'll notice I'm keeping this third finger on the D, called an anchor finger. Add some consistency to it, so there's one thing, and then percussion. But now if we're finger picking, of course our thumb is going to go back up to low E, because both of our chords begin on the low E string, one on open E and one on G. So if we start on G, same pattern. One thing, here's a quick workaround. We're playing E minor here, but if you'll notice, I'm only picking the string, so we're not actually using either the A or the D string, so we don't even have to fret them, right? So it can just be G chord, whatever finger you want, then E minor, if you're doing that pattern without any fingers being fretted, because you're not going to hear them anyway, because we're only picking E, G, B, and high E, okay? So there you go. Now, of course, we can add a few notes in here. Now here is where we will have permission to break some of the rules, okay? For E minor, this is generally the best fingering because it gives you the most freedom, but let's say we want to fret some of these notes. If we now finger it 1 and 2, excuse me, still kind of a stretch, okay? But it can be done. So as you incorporate some lead tones into your chords, into your rhythm structures, you'll find that you can go ahead and break some of those rules, but you can only do it, there always has to be a purpose. Don't ever do it just because you want to cut a corner. Make sure there's a deliberate reason that you're doing so.